These are probably the most crazy stories of probably some of the craziest stories of the week, honestly. Two separate stories, both from Colorado. Guys, what's going on in Colorado? Are you guys okay over there? Are you guys okay in Colorado? Let's start with the first story we have from Colorado. Nearly 20 decomposing bodies found stashed in hidden room of funeral home ran by county coroner. The remains, some possibly dating back even 15 years, were hidden behind a door concealed by a cardboard display. Wow. I mean, state inspectors have uncovered nearly 20 decomposing bodies hidden inside a Colorado funeral home operated by the county's elected coroner, a discovery authorities called a profound violation of trust and a heartbreaking betrayal. The remains, believed to date back as far as 15 years, were discovered Wednesday in a concealed room at Davis Mortuary, according to officials during a Thursday news conference held by the Pueblo County Sheriff's Office. The chamber's doors was hidden behind a cardboard display, and inspectors noted a strong odor upon finding the room. Looks like local outlets reported, citing state documents. The private facility, which had been operating as a funeral home since 2010, underwent its first annual inspection this week under a new oversight law passed after a local 2023 scandal, in which nearly 190 bodies were improperly stored at a return-to-nature funeral home, and families were given fake ashes. Funnily enough, that's the other story that we'll be talking about. Because the Colorado, we have an update in that story as well. Two separate stories. So as a result of this story that I'll be talking about next, this guy was subject to inspections now, and he was doing similar things. Like, wow. What's going on, Colorado? How the F do you ignore the smell? That dude, I don't know. But yeah, so it says we have received credible information that Davis County Mortuary has been improperly storing human remains for years. Looks like the director of the Bureau of Investigation said on Thursday, this is a profound violation of trust and a heartbreaking betrayal of the families who had trusted their loved ones in this funeral home. During the inspection, Brian Cotter, who had served as the county coroner since 2014 and co-owns the funeral home with his brother, Chris Cotter, asked inspectors not to enter the room, local reports say, citing records. He then reportedly told officials that some of the bodies in the hidden room had been awaiting cremation for over a decade, and acknowledged that families may have been provided fake remains of their relatives. Wow. Dude, I mean, how is that easier? I don't understand that. Like, how is it easier to just throw a body in a room and forget about it than to just cremate the body and give them the ashes? Like, you literally just gave them some random fake sawdust ashes? Like, it's monstrous. The state has since suspended Davis Mortuary's funeral home license. I would sure hope so. Fuck. Its crematory license remained valid until November 2024, though staff reported that no cremations had been performed, there for roughly 10 years. Wow. Our top priorities are to respectfully and humanely process the scene, identify all of the deceased, and notify their families and loved ones. Dude, imagine you've been, like, paying your respects to an urn for the past 10 years, and it turns out that, like, the ashes in the urn are just, like, from his fire pit. That's so fucked up. This is going to be a comprehensive investigation, and the financials will definitely be part of them. No formal charges have been filed yet. However, authorities said that they are aware of Brian Cotter's whereabouts, and he will continue to serve as the Pueblo County coroner for now. What? Why? Why is he still serving as the Pueblo County coroner? What do you mean? What? What? I don't even know what to say to that. Colorado, what's going on over there? Both Cotter brothers remain under investigation, though neither is currently subject to travel restriction. Oh my God. Brian Cotter did not immediately respond to a request for comment by Fox News Digital. Why is he not in jail? Why are you letting him serve as the coroner still? What? Moving on, we're going to talk about the other story from Colorado. Colorado judge rejects plea agreement for funeral director who acknowledged abusing 191 corpses. Well, so this is the story that actually sparked the investigations into that other funeral home. Because that funeral home, the one we just talked about, they were subject to routine investigations now because of a recent change due to this story. So, a Colorado judge on Friday rejected a plea agreement for a funeral home owner who acknowledged to abusing 191 corpses, many of which languished in a room temperature building for years, as the owner and his wife maintained a lavish lifestyle. The judge's decision came after families of the dead who were given fake ashes asked for a more severe punishment for John Halford, who owned and operated Return to Nature funeral home in Colorado Springs with his wife, Carrie. The plea agreement called for a 20-year prison sentence that would run concurrently with his 20-year federal sentence, meaning he could be freed many years earlier than the sentences ran consecutively. Family members said the plea agreement would essentially erase the crimes committed against the 191 people whose bodies have been identified. Dude, even if you get 1 year for each of those bodies, like you do not get 20 years for this. That's ridiculous. Because it's saying that they could be run concurrently, meaning that the 20 years are counted at the same time, but they should be counted consecutively, meaning you serve your 20 and then you serve your next 20. But even then, I'm fine with life in prison for something like this. 191 bodies. You dishonored 191 people. Like, no, dude, that's life in prison. John Halford already is bound for prison after pleading guilty to federal fraud charges. The rejection of the plea deal effectively resets the separate state criminal case. Halford is now can now withdraw his guilty plea, sending the case to trial. Carrie Halford's sentencing on the corpse abuse charges has not been scheduled. It's been 2 years since nearly 200 decaying bodies were discovered in a pungent funeral home in rural Colorado. On Friday, the owner, who acknowledged the mishandling corpses, leaving them to rot, was set to be sentenced to state court. John Halford and his wife, for 4 years, ran a fraudulent scheme from where they returned to nature home in Colorado Springs, assuring people they were handling loved ones' cremations only to stash the bodies in bug-infested building and give them dry concrete resembling ashes. Wow. My son wasn't simply mishandled. He was dumped out of a body bag into the corner of an unoperable refrigerator. Wow. Christina Page, whose son died in 2019. For 4 years, Page said she carried an urn that she wrongfully thought carried her son's ashes. I loved it. I cried over it. I held it close during sleepless nights and I kissed it. It wasn't him at all. What happened to my son has broken me in ways I cannot repair. That's, like I said, life in prison for the trauma subject to these families. To know that their loved ones were treated this way. I mean, life in prison for this guy. A plea agreement calls for the Halford to receive a 20-year prison sentence for the corpse abuse charges. No, dude, life in prison. Life in prison for this guy. So it looks like they went on to buy luxury items after defrauding the government. Looks like they defrauded the government out of nearly $900,000 with the money from families and the federal government. The Halfords bought ritzy items from stores like Tiffany & Co., a GMC Yukon, and an Infiniti worth $120,000 combined, laser body sculpting, and a $31,000 cryptocurrency bill. In 2023, a putrid smell poured from the building and the police turned up. Investigators swarmed the building, donning hazmat suits and painstakingly extracting the bodies. Halford and his wife were arrested in Oklahoma, where John Halford had family more than a month later. Dude, this is just so disgusting. Life in prison for this guy, please, for the love of God. This is so disgusting. I'm glad the plea deal was rejected, but for the love of all that is holy, put this man in prison till he can't breathe anymore. This is disgusting. Disgusting story. Abusing, does that refer to letting them rot? Yeah, it just means abuse just there from the stories that I've read, from everything I've gathered from these stories, there was nothing sexual, if that's the question of the audience. There was nothing sexual about keeping these bodies. It was all of the abuse in reference refers to mishandling a dead corpse. They were mishandling dead corpses, leaving them to rot in room temperature places, just mishandling corpses. That's where the abuse comes in. How the F do you ignore the smell? I really don't know. I genuinely, I don't know how you get around that in a story like this.